This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 377 of the Stable Scoop Radio Show, Shopping and Wellness. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible.
Our sponsor this week is HorseLovers.com. You can win a Disney trip with HorseLovers.com. We also heal the hungry soul with Rachel Pellison. And the Tack and Habit product of the week will make our Western saddle riders very, very happy. Listen in. This is the Horse Radio Network. This is Glenn the Geek.
And this is Helena B. Oh, this is Honey Bee. And you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
I need sound effects now. I need to... Every time we say your name, I need to have that ready.
We have to update the show notes so that I can remember my spy name. We watched a spy movie over the weekend, which was fabulous. So I'm feeling my inner spy.
Bond is out now.
This wasn't a James Bond movie. It was starring one of my favorite actors, Colin Firth. It was called Kingsman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, did you see it? We didn't get to see that yet. They said it was pretty violent.
Well, here's the thing. There was a lot of violence in it, but it wasn't gory. It was edited so beautifully that you definitely got the impression that someone's head got cut off, but you didn't actually see it.
Oh, that's good. All right.
And one of the interesting things I found about it was the fight scenes they had an almost video game feel to them. The graphics were really cool. It's not animated. It was totally live, but the editing was very watchable. I was really surprised because I get so bored with those fight scenes. But this was really good.
Now we'll have to see it. Jennifer wanted to see that. She loves Colin Firth too.
Yep, put it on the list.
Very good. Well, we have a big show planned for everybody today, and I apologize. I got a cold at the end of vacation. On the flight, on the way home, I got a sore throat, and I knew I was doomed. You know, you go away for 10 days, you're bound to catch something from somebody.
Yes, it's true.
And that's exactly what happened. But it was a lot of fun. We had a great time, and want to thank Jamie and Chad for putting up with us, and also all of Monty's crew out at Flag Is Up Farm. Debbie and Pat were there, and they cooked for us, and we had a great time at Flag Is Up Farm, too. So if you want to hear more about that, you can head over to Horses in the Morning. We talked all about it on Wednesday morning show, so you can hear it there. But we don't have time to dilly-dally today. We got stuff.
We got lots of stuff. We got lots of stuff.
We do, and we're going to find out how you can win a trip to Disney World. And that is coming up with our first guest, Jen. She is the customer service manager at HorseLovers.com. Let's find out what's going on over there. Well, hi, Jen. Welcome to the Stable Scoop Show.
Oh, it's nice to be here today.
It's good to have you. We want to officially welcome HorseLovers.com as a sponsor here on Stable Scoop. We're so excited to have you guys.
We're really excited to be a part of the team.
Well, now, everybody that has listened to our show for the last 8 years and a lot of the other shows we do here in the Horse Radio Network will recognize Equestrian Collections because they were one of our first sponsors 8 years ago, and they've been with us ever since. And you guys are you're kind of relatives now. Explain that.
Yep. Back in May, we've taken Equestrian Collections. It has become part of the Choice Brands Corporation family. So we're really excited to have added them. They bring a huge client base to us that's, a little varied from the ones, with Horse Lovers, our customers that, we have coming into Horse Lovers. So it's very exciting to add them to our family.
So HorseLovers.com and EquestrianCollections.com are like sisters now.
Yes.
Okay, There we go. See, that's how I think
They're in the
of
same
it.
pasture.
That's right. That's right. That's even better. I like that even better. That's pretty good, Jen. Well, now tell us a little bit about HorseLovers.com and the history of Horse Lovers. With a Z, by the way. Horse Lovers with a Z at the end.
Yes. It's very important to remember when you find us, you got to find us with that Z. Horse Lovers basically started as an eBay store. I haven't been with them since the beginning. I've been here about 5 years now, and they basically have just grown with the number of vendors that we carry, and moved into a website, omni-channel. We, in addition to having the website, we do about a dozen road shows, so you can catch us around the country. The big one that we're doing right now is the equine mass. We're heading out there next week. They'll be on their way.
I'll
up
be
to
out there. I'll
Massachusetts.
see ya.
Yep. We have, I believe it's about 4,500 square foot,
Whoa.
basically, mobile tack shop that we'll have there. So it's a great way for our customers to come
Helena
and
can spend more
talk to us.
money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Christmas
How
is
long
coming,
did-
right?
How long does it take you to pack up your rig for a show like Equine Affair? That's a big
Oh,
deal. Isn't it?
yeah, it's a huge challenge but our warehouse crew and our roadshow crew, they continue to streamline the process, and that's why we're able to grow the size of the tack shops basically that we're taking on the road. And a lot of our vendor sponsor, come and join us. So they're a huge help because they take up so much square feet and within each of these tack shops that we set up. So, but it's definitely an all hands on deck. And I think that's what, makes Horse Lovers as a, working here. It's just a big family, and, you wear more than one hat. You may have a title, but you're definitely jumping into other parts of it, as we get ready for stuff like this, because we want it to be, we want the customers to get the best experience when they go to that type of event.
Well, I know a lot of our listeners will be heading up to the Big E for that. They do every year.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
we're excited about that. And you guys, horselovers.com, you do a number of fun things. One of the reasons I like Horse Lovers, and I was so glad that we were able to get together, is that you do so many fun things. And one of them is sweepstakes. And last year you did a sweepstakes, and we're going to talk to the winners of that sweepstakes on our big holiday radiothon coming up.
Yep.
But you did a sweepstakes last year where people could win a trip and about $1 million, what seemed like $1 million worth of prizes.
Oh, yeah.
In Kentucky, they went to Rolex. And you have a new sweepstakes that's coming up that people will be able to sign up for. And this time, they're coming down our way.
Yes. Yep. I mean, it's going to be a sweepstakes to the Disney Ranch, the Tri-Circle D Ranch down at Fort Wilderness. And it's for... they're going to get to go to the ranch and get a behind-the-scenes experience because, it's been brought to, I didn't realize this in the past, but it was told that Walt Disney actually was, an equestrian himself and very involved in horses. And part of the Disney philosophy is that horses will always be involved and a part of any of his parks. So it's going to be, it's like a horse lover's dream, like to be able to go down and, get to go to Disney World and get to ride horses. And in addition to that, we're going to do a day trip out to Ocala, so they'll get the full experience of horses in Florida.
Well, that's terrific.
I think it's awesome.
We were just there and did a show from the ranch there at Disney World.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. They have a lot of horses there. We got to do the trail ride and carriage rides and all that stuff. And you might recognize some of the pictures. Some of the listeners might recognize some of the pictures at horselovers.com. You might see yours truly in one of those sitting on a horse.
All
Disney
right.
World. So
You've been on a horse a lot.
I know.
lately.
I've broken records this year for the number
Pretty
of times
soon you're
going to
be shopping at horselovers.com.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, we sure hope so.
Jennifer keeps saying, we're going to get you just doing more than just carriage driving now. But
There you go.
well, now you guys also do a lot of different things on the website for the holidays, and we're going to be announcing those over the next couple of weeks. And I want to thank you, too, because you're one of the main sponsors now for the brand new first ever holiday radiothon we're doing on November 30th, 12 hours live on the air. And you're one of the big sponsors for that day, and thank you for that. We appreciate that also.
Oh, we're happy to be a part of it.
But you also do something that's available right now, and it's a daily flash sale. Tell us about that.
A flash sale is something that we run. Horse Lovers is based on a lot of the deals that we get from our vendors. So we do offer daily deals. And in addition to that, we offer a flash sale, which is typically 1 or 2 items that are posted every single day. It runs for about 24 hours, and you can actually see the time ticking down. I'm watching today's flash sale as we talk, which is a pair of Ariat Youth zip paddock boots. And, you go right to the flash sale part of the website and, click on that, and it'll take you in, and if your sizes are still available, you want to grab them while the sale's going on.
I know.
I got to stop you right there because I have a pair of these Ariat boots. Really? I bought them for Grace, but it ends up that we're wearing the same size. The flash sale that they have is great because these boots you are awesome.
Well, now
They're-
normally they're around $100, and they have them for $44.
Yeah,
Yep.
$44.99. So seriously, if your size is left, grab them because this is one of Ariat's more durable boots. I know
Yeah.
because I put them through their paces. So just had to add that.
Well, there are so many things, and we're going to be talking about the 45 days of Christmas coming up, which you're absolutely going to love when you get into gift buying mode. We're going to have you guys involved all day on the Radiothon Day, which we're so excited about, and we just got a lot more things coming up, and we just wanted to welcome you today and introduce the audience to horselovers.com, and remember, that's horselovers with a Z.com. Check them out today. Hop on over to the website, and we always have this complaint that we do too much, and especially even on the sponsor side, that we do too much in the English world. Well, you guys have a large Western side as well, so we're not just English, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I would say we're like 60-40, and if there's something that we don't have and the customer is looking for it, we're always happy to hear, and then we'll reach out to the vendors and see if it's something we can add to our line.
So for the Western riders, we're talking barrel racing, saddles, trail pleasure, endurance, roping, the whole thing, bridles, head stalls, saddle pads, Western bits, the saddle bags, the whole thing is there, spurs. So, for once, we're representing the Western side here, and we're really happy about that, too, because we have a ton of Western listeners. So we appreciate that. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for joining us, Customer Service Manager at horselovers.com. We appreciate you being on board.
Thank you, Glenn, and we will talk to you real soon.
Well, now I have another place that I need to shop. Thanks a lot. You got to stop getting these retailers on as sponsors. It's just killing my budget.
And you're going to see them when you head up to the Big E.
I am going to see
that?
them.
Anyway,
that's
Sea
next
Point
week.
Affair, right? Yep.
Yeah, that's next week. So we'll head out in the middle of the week when it's nice and quiet, and I can.
Do you spend a day or two, or what do you do?
I never have enough time to spend 2 days. I usually go for one complete day from morning until evening.
That's a trip. Huh?
I completely saturate myself, and then I come back feeling really good.
So,
but again, I like to go during the week. Yeah, and broke. I like to go during the week when it's kind of quiet, and I get that one-on-one time with the vendors. But there's another way that I can rejuvenate myself, and that is through a series of Pilates classes that I've been taking lately. And we have on today with us Rachel Pellison, who is a holistic health and wellness coach. She is a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and a balanced body Pilates instructor. She started her own practice. It's called Healing the Hungry Soul. Why do we have Rachel on? Rachel is a competitive horseback rider. She has been in the saddle for most of her life, and she rides hunt seat and beautifully, I might add. She's one of those riders who just gets in the saddle and she doesn't really have to do anything. She just has such a calm, flowy way about her that I don't know. You got to watch her ride to really appreciate it. But she's going to bring to us today a series of exercises that we can do at the barn in our boots and breeches if we have to. And you can basically build on these. They take 1 to 2 minutes each, and they definitely help you with your strength, your stretching, and your balance, which are 3 things that are essential in the saddle. I can tell you I have had a huge response both in my physical appearance, my strength, and my riding just from doing Pilates alone. So we're going to hear from Rachel, and she's going to maybe help get some of us started on a new program. Welcome, Rachel, to the Stable Scoop Radio Show. We are happy to have you on.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So you're this expert in something that Glenn and I need desperetely.
Hey, wait a minute.
See, I got to come out of the gate with something, Glenn. You have a very unique perspective on health and wellness, specifically for horse lovers and equestrians. Give us a little bit of background about your expertise and then how you got started in horses.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll start with horses first. There's photos of me when I was like a little baby sitting in a saddle, with my mom holding me up. So I've pretty much spent my entire life riding horses. Had horses in the backyard when I was a kid and then rode competitively through high school. So I've always had a love of horses and really all animals. And then I went to school and I studied nutrition and became a registered dietitian. And then more recently, I started doing training through Pilates-based fitness. So I'm now combining all three forces: nutrition, fitness, and horseback riding, and working with rider wellness and health.
And I can attest to the wellness part of the rider wellness because I've been going to Rachel's classes, Pilates classes, for a while now. And some of the classes that she offers actually has a nutrition component. So we talk about all kinds of things, everything from the science behind nutrition to things like emotional eating and stuff. So there is this sort of trio of topics when you're dealing with health and wellness and fitness. And of course, you have this unique perspective of what's important to riders because we also have unique needs. I mean, we expend a lot of energy. We're in the saddle. Sometimes that's physical energy, but often it's emotional energy. So what are you going to talk to us about today?
So I think today we're going to start with just some basic physical fitness techniques because our riding is such a physically strenuous sport. And we often do a lot of training in the tack, but I think some of us neglect to do training outside of the tack. And I'm sure that our horses would really appreciate us doing some of that training off their backs. So we're going to talk about a couple fitness-related trainings that riders can do. And I essentially think about three primary things with fitness for riders. One is strength. You've got to have the right muscle strength to be hanging on, and balance is really important part of strength. And then secondary, you have to have stamina. So you've got to have that cardiovascular respiratory support because sometimes we get winded up there. And then thirdly, you need good flexibility. So even though we don't have a lot of flexibility on the horse's back, if you're not doing good stretching and flexibility training off your horse, I'm sure a lot of us can attest to a lot of back pain that may come with riding. And so flexibility is really important to prevent or relieve that back pain.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm notorious for having that stabbing lower back pain. Well, tightness. It's just the tightness. Sometimes it's not even pain, but you get all locked up.
Yes.
You know, and it goes all the way. It starts in your back, but it goes all the way up to your jaw. You know, and you can feel your whole torso just completely freeze.
Yeah, I mean, you get it in a lot of different places. That the actual physical act of riding can create a lot of compression in the lower back. So a lot of people feel it in the lower back, but it can go into sciatica that shoots down the legs. It can go up the back, into the neck. I personally was getting a lot of lower back and mid back pain, and just through Pilates and the fitness training I've been doing, I've really eliminated, I would say 90 to 95% of my back pain that I think a lot of was coming from not effectively cross training with riding.
Yeah. Well, I found that the stretches, the combination of strengthening and then stretching, because I was like, yeah, stretching, poo. Everybody has to stretch. I've always hated stretching as an athlete. But I found that you know why? Because it hurts. So like, especially the hamstring stretches and the quad stretches, and I would never even think to stretch my neck or my back. But the easy flow of Pilates that, you know, you kind of go from a strengthening exercise and then you're stretching this group of muscles in your spine, was completely surprising to me to walk away and then to ride so you do this little exercise routine and then you stretch, but then I would go ride my horse later in the day and I was so relaxed. My body just was like, no, I'm not really interested in tensing up right now. I don't need to go there. And I found a pattern that whenever I would go to a Pilates class, my horse would move a lot better and had a much better attitude when I rode him that same day.
I went through an experience earlier in the year where I was job transitioning. I was working 2 jobs. Everything was crazy. And so I didn't ride for 3 months at all. But I did keep up my Pilates training I was going about 2 days a week. And when I got back in the tack after 3 months, you get that like, oh boy, this is going to suck. Like, I'm going to be flopping around, my legs are going to be burning, and I'm going to have terrible posture. And I got in the tack, and I was literally blown away at how good I felt, and how much the cross training really affected my riding. So, I mean, that, I knew there were the benefits and I had felt it, but when you take away the riding and just do the Pilates and come back, you really feel how important that cross training is. It really blew me away. So I'm sad I missed that riding time, but I'm glad I got that experience to reinforce the cross training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
All right. So what can we do? Let's share some of our secrets, your secrets with the Stable Scoop land.
All right. So I'm going to give you 2 exercises today that are super simple. And these are exercises you can do before you ride, after you ride. They only take a few minutes. You can just be in your breeches and boots or your barn clothes and do these exercises. So the first one is going to be a standing quad stretch. And this is essentially just that basic quad stretch that you see runners do. You're going to stand on one foot, and then you're going to hold the opposite ankle in your hand. So you're bringing that ankle back towards the butt and holding it with your hand. And so you're stretching out the front of the quad there and really opening the hip. So opening that hip is super important for dressage riders. You have to have a really open hip angle. And then even for my Huntsy riders, we ride in a very closed hip angle. So it's really important to get that oppositional stretch and open the hip afterwards, or it makes you really tight in your low back. So it's a stretch, and then it's also a strengthening exercise. Believe it or not, a lot of people have a really hard time balancing on one foot. So if you can just stand there, stretch each quad for about 30 to 60 seconds, you can be working on your balance there. And that will help your balance in the tack.
I had to get, after I tore my ACL, I had a bunch of physical therapy exercises that were assigned to me as homework. And one of those was was balancing on one foot. I had to stand on one leg. Mm-hmm. And, and then I had to do a series of things that would sort of knock me off balance. And I had to use only the muscles, only the quads and the hamstrings to maintain my balance. And it was such a quick way to build the muscle back up. Obviously, I had surgery, so I had to have special exercises in order to bring the muscle back. But I was really surprised at just standing on one leg and then teetering to the left or the right or forward, how much you engage the quadricep muscle.
Yeah,
and it was really cool. And you can I love the fact that you can do this in your boots and breeches and standing in front of your horse's stall while you're waiting to ride or something. It doesn't take that long.
Cooling off after your lesson, whatever. And then so one good thing you can do if this is, if the balance is enough for you, but if you want to take it to the next level, you can, so if you have, let's say you're standing on your left leg, you have your right leg behind you, which you're holding, then you can extend your left arm up into the air and then bend yourself forward. So essentially you're making like a T shape. And so that gives you a deeper stretch, and then also really working that balance by bending the body forward there.
I would strongly suggest you do this exercise on the rubber aisle mats. For me, have rubber around.
Hand on the side of the wall or something.
Okay, so that gives you more stretch in the hip?
That is, essentially just working more on balance.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to deepen the balance. And then as you are doing that, you can still be stretching that quad and opening that hip with the bent knee.
Okay. All right, so quad stretch and balance for strengthening.
Yep.
Hey, Rachel, I got a question for you. Have you ever ridden a Segway?
I have not ridden a Segway.
We did it for the first time on our vacation last week. We were out in Sedona, Arizona, and we did a Segway, and it was an hour and a half. And Segway, everybody knows what a Segway is, and of course they have the gyroscopes in it that helps keep it upright. Mm-hmm. Although you got to do some of that work too, and you guys were talking about balance and all the muscles required. We were amazed, and Jennifer rides all the time. We're amazed at how sore we were when we got off of it.
Huh, interesting.
because you're constantly adjusting, just like when riding a horse. You're constantly adjusting, and your feet actually fall asleep after a while because you can't really pick them up and move them a lot because the way you put your feet, you actually go forward by leaning forward on your toes, and you put on the brakes by leaning back on your heels. But just the act of keeping the balance, your calf muscles and everything were so sore after we did that. Because you're constantly your body's doing little adjustments without you even thinking about it. And it was amazing how much of a workout. And the guy said that if you ride a Segway for 4 hours, you wouldn't be able to walk the next day. we were an hour and a half, and I could barely walk when I got off of it. It was just amazing how something like that gives you a workout,
Yeah.
where it's doing part of the work for you, yet it's forcing you to balance the whole time.
Well, did you have like any similar soreness after riding so much? I mean, you've been in the saddle quite a lot the last couple of months, Glenn. Did you have any soreness from
not like that.
Okay.
And I think it was because, when you are riding, you are sitting, where there you're standing. So all your weight's on your calf muscles and your feet and your ankles and the whole thing. So everything is focused there. So I think that made a bit of a difference. And that's why Jennifer was so sore. She said, I've never been so sore in the stirrups before. And we did not expect that going in. But we saw a lot of correlations between riding the Segway and riding a horse in the balance aspect of things.
Yeah.
Because if you were a little off balance one way or the other, you were turning. So it's it was kind of the same way. You had to be balanced, and then forward and back were similar also. So
you needed like a body awareness. Like you can't
yes.
you really needed a body awareness. Okay.
Oh, and by the way, when you fall off, it's just like a horse that keeps going. So it was very interesting to see the correlation, and we never expected there to be a correlation, but it was interesting. Our instructors said the same thing. They said, you're horseback riders, you're going to see a lot of similarities with this, with certain things. And
you had to have an instructor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you'd kill yourself.
Oh, God.
Plus, we were on the roads. I mean, we were on the roads, so...
Did you have to wear a helmet?
Yeah, you had to wear a helmet. Now, none of us fell off. They were really good instructors, and you could pick it up in about 10 minutes. And then
need an air jacket.
After about an hour, we were going up some serious hills. Sedona is nothing but straight up and straight down. And these things get going they can go up to 20 miles an hour. So you can get going pretty good. And they have theirs regulated at about 10 or 12. But when you're going down a hill straight down on this thing, going 12 miles an hour, it's weird. I mean, it's different. But yeah, I'm sorry, I had to bring it up. It was just something.
We'll have to put it on the bucket list. Segways.
You do.
Yeah.
Every horse person should try it once because it was very interesting. It really was. Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
So can we let Rachel get back to
Yes, I'm done now.
We do this, Rachel, where, we go off on a tangent. We take the scenic route to the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we had so you gave us is that one or two exercises, the quad stretch?
So that's the standing quad stretch, which is going to hit strength and flexibility. And you can do it in various levels. Like I mentioned, the first basic level, just holding the ankle and the foot, and then you can take it to the more advanced balance level where you're going to tip the body forwards and really get into the balance there.
Okay.
And then for our next exercise, we're going to hit on strength and stamina. So this is called a jump squat. So it's essentially like a basic squat that you would do in any exercise class, but we're going to kind of tweak it for horseback riders. So you would stand with the weight evenly distributed on 2 feet, and then you're just going to squat down. So the booty's going to come straight back, and you're going to close that hip angle as you lower down, and then you're going to stand back up. So that's your standard squat.
Okay.
So we're going to add the jump to it, which makes it into a plyometric exercise. So plyometric exercises use a burst of energy to jump off the ground. So they take a simple exercise like a squat and essentially make it 10 times harder, burn 10 times more calories, and they get your heart rate up quicker. So the great thing about plyometric exercises is that they're so efficient. You only have to do them for a short amount of time. So I like to.
This is my favorite part about this stuff. It doesn't have to take a week, to do one exercise. There's an efficiency that we have in understanding how the body works. I love this. Plyometrics, the geek in me is coming out. Keep going. Sorry.
Yes. And you don't have to do 100 of them. So I like to start people with this jump squat for 15 to 30 seconds, and then you can work your way up to 1 minute. And you will, if you do it for 30 seconds, you will have some sore legs and a sore booty the next day, 100%. All right, so you're going to squat down into that position. And
hold on a second. So you're saying basically that in 2.5 to 3 minutes, you can put in enough physical effort that your body will respond albeit in a soreness, because as we know, when we get sore, we've actually worked our muscles long enough. Mm-hmm. So in less than 3 minutes, we can actually have an effect on our muscles, our bodies.
Oh, absolutely. Because this is such high intensity exercise that you only have to do it for a very short amount of time.
That's my kind of exercise.
Yeah. Okay,
so
go ahead.
This is perfect for the rider who you don't have time to go to the gym and spend an hour there, drive there, change again. You're already at the barn for 3 hours. So you're just taking 10 minutes while you're at the barn, and you're letting your horse cool down, or you're grazing him or whatever, and you can, just be jumping around right next to him. So you're going to squat down in that squat position. And then for riders, especially for those who do jumping, you're going to really think about your jumping position. So you're going to have a nice little gentle arch in the low back. You're thinking about posture, shoulders back, and then those hands can glide forward as you squat down, just like your jumping release. So you're going to do this squat down, and then you're going to stand up and jump, and then you're going to land, squat down, stand up, and jump. So essentially, you're going from a squat to a jump and back down.
Okay, and you want to cushion your landing, right? As you land.
So you're gonna land with bent knees, and then lower right into that squat, and then jump up, landing with bent knees.
Okay, I can do that one. I can do that one raising my horse. Yeah,
definitely. So like I said, that's the plyometric, super high intensity. And so I would start with 15 to 30 seconds of that exercise, and then you can work your way up to a minute.
Okay. Yeah, I would get, that is a burst. Like I can feel it. I'm thinking about it. I'm imagining myself doing it. And that is expending a lot of energy in a short period of time.
Yeah, we'll have to do some jump squats for you in the next Pilates class.
Thank you.
That's not really a Pilates exercise, but it is a super efficient way to increase your cardiovascular stamina for riding. So,
okay, so it's good for your heart as well.
Yeah, and then it, especially for those who are getting into a jumping position, it builds muscle memory. So if you practice your jumping position off your horse, when you get on and you start jumping and practice, you'll have that muscle memory, so it will be easier to get into proper form and position there.
I can definitely attest to that being true, because like Rachel, I had to take some time off from riding my horse. I was on the ground for a couple of months, and the only real exercise that I was doing at the time was I was doing some running, but I was doing Pilates, which and she does some really good leg work, which it's just so easy to do. But the first day I got back into the saddle, I was so surprised at how strong my legs were in half seat. I was able to do a 30-minute schooling ride. And I would say most of that, 20 minutes of that was in half seat, because I knew that I was, I needed the strengthening. I was like, wow, this is no problem at all. So testimony for that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, this has been really helpful. I'm glad that I'm kind of, I don't want to say sad, but I'm glad that our secret is out and that Rachel can share her expertise with all our Stable Scoop fans. It really is, me, I'm such a skeptic, and I poo-poo anything that I don't already believe in. But one of the things that I love about working with Rachel is that she makes it very easy to try new things and understands firsthand how little time we have as riders and horse owners to incorporate all these other very important things into our horse lives. So the fact that she kind of gets that and also gets what we need as riders, both mentally and physically, I think it's definitely worth it to consider doing some kind of program. And where can people find you, Rachel? Because you have a whole host of information on this stuff online, don't you?
I do. So the best way to find me is on my website at www.rachelpellison.com. And you can find all my contact info there. You can sign up for my monthly newsletter, which has fitness, nutrition, wellness tips, all kinds of good info. And then hopefully we'll be getting some equestrian exercises up there soon too.
Yeah. And you do distance counseling.
Yes, so I do. I have an office in Rhode Island where I do counseling and coaching, and then I also offer distance counseling. So you can get on Skype or Google Hangouts with me, and we can do nutrition or a fitness consultation right over the web.
Awesome. And they can also find you on Facebook if you just search for Rachel Pellison or Healing the Hungry Soul. You have all of this information gets curated on Facebook as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you, Rachel. You will be back for a regular segment here. We're going to have you on about once a month. So if you're a fan, be sure to tune in to Stable Scoop monthly for Healing the Hungry Soul segment. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
This Tack and Habits segment is sponsored by Fecal Matters. You can find them online at fecalmattersmobile.com. What the heck is that?
Yeah, that's my question.
It's a brilliant idea. Fecal Matters is a mobile fecal egg count laboratory. They're based in the Southeast. They serve Southern Georgia, South Carolina, and Northern Florida. But essentially, it's a mobile lab that comes out to your barn, collects stool samples, and runs a fecal egg count test on site for you. And they'll tell you how many and what type of parasitic eggs are in your horse's stool. And this way, you can deworm your horse based on what is actually infested in him or her, instead of just doing, a rotational deworming or deworming by calendar, which has been shown to be extremely ineffective and contributes to parasite resistance.
Is it something that she does on a circuit? Like, I'm going through Ocala next month. I'll stop in at all the Ocala stops.
She does have a schedule. She has hours and information available on her website. Typically, it's Monday through Friday. She's available from 8 to 6 p.m. with her mobile lab. But she can come out on weekends and, she'll start to group up barns and appointments.
Is there a minimum number of horses at a barn? Or?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. She'll come out for one or two barns, one or two horses. Yeah.
Huh. So it's fecalmattersmobile.com. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea. I mean, first of all, I love the fact that, and sometimes it's hard to get, when you live in a remote area, it's hard to get the vet out, or, you only test the stool once or twice a year as part of like your horse's annual exam. And it depends on what your situation is. If you have a lot of horses that are coming and going off the property, you have a show horse or whatever, you might want to test more often. But the point is to test before you medicate. And Fecal Matters brings that service to you, which, of course, I love. Save me time. Love it.
Very good. Well, let's get on with today's product for the Tack and Habit segment. Well, welcome, Justin, from Total Saddle Fit. We appreciate you stopping by here with our product of the week. Now, Total Saddle Fit is a sponsor of ours over on the Dressage Radio Show, has been for a long time. They came out with the shoulder relief girth, and a lot of our listeners love it. I know Reese and Phillip from the Dressage Radio Show use it every day with their horses, and now you have a Western version. So let's talk about that. It's the shoulder relief cinch. Tell us about it.
Yes. So we had a lot of requests for the Western version of the shoulder relief girth. So we finally come out with it. It took us a little while. Sorry, it took longer than expected, but such is the case. And
takes a long time to do something good.
Yeah, it does.
That's right.
That's what I like to think. It's a very intuitive cinch, and we're very, very proud of it. But the way both of them work is the girth sits in the horse's natural girth groove, which is the lowest point around their barrel, because inevitably, whether it girths up there to begin with or after a few minutes of riding, the girth is always going to shift to that lowest point. So the center of the girth sits in that natural groove, while the sides of the girth are cut back. They're recessed backward about 2 inches. So the buckles actually sit further back on the horse's body and allow the billets of the saddle to attach further back. And what that does is it reduces the often forward pressure of the billets that will tend to creep a saddle forward into the horse's shoulders or have the saddle slide over the shoulders. So it brings those billets more perpendicular to the ground and eliminates the tree, the tree from sliding up in the shoulders, interfering with the shoulders, and so on.
So the cinch conforms to the shape of the body or the natural shape of the horse's body, and it finds its most comfortable natural resting spot around their girth, but it doesn't change the downward pull or pressure of the saddle. So the saddle can fit, because this is one thing that happens, I notice all the time. You put the saddle on, you arrange it just so, you get it fitted properly, you get it stuffed properly, you check for pressure points, and this is all about a directly vertical, top to bottom. You're looking at the pressure straight downward. But then you put the girth on and it changes the angle of the pressure. So you're saying here that the girth actually allows a saddle to still be pulled downward snugly without being pulled forward.
Yes, well, and that's exactly what it is. You still want it to be pulled downward snugly for the girth or the cinch to achieve its job, but this prevents that other unwanted element of the forward pressure sliding up into the shoulders or over the shoulders.
Because sometimes if you want to keep that pressure like lined up, I find I'm like, wait, my girth is just too far back. It's the cinch is too far back. It really doesn't want to go there.
No, and the fact is, we get a question quite a bit. We used to get it more, but we still get it occasionally, and that is, well, why don't I just girth my saddle up farther back? And that's a really valid question because it makes sense. Why don't you? The problem is, like what you're talking about, is the girth doesn't want to be there. So after your horse starts moving a little bit, the girth will not stay there. It will creep forward and get that forward angle and pull it forward and so on.
Yeah, it'll bring skin with it and all kinds of uncomfortableness. And
that's the girth galls that we all talk about.
Yeah.
And, it happens that way, too, with saddles on harnesses for driving, and especially more so because you have the shafts that are hooked to the saddle. So now you have the shafts applying pressure, too, backward and forward. So that saddle always shifts. We're just waiting. Now that you've got the Western one accomplished, us drivers are waiting for that. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
All right. Well, Glenn, I'm sorry. I would not hold your breath on that one.
Okay.
But
all right.
I will not say never.
Okay. All right. I got you. So now it actually looks like kind of a V in the middle. It is offset in the middle, as you said, by about 2 inches. So I think everybody kind of gets what it does. And you have 2 different choices too, right, with the Western cinches?
Yeah, the way we designed the Western cinch was actually making the sort of the foundation, the frame of the girth, its own leather piece with a full Velcro backing. So depending on what your preferences are for the inside of the girth, meaning like what touches your horse's body, you can use neoprene or fleece, and they just interchange really easily with like a heavy-duty Velcro. So
great.
the whole thing, the whole liner Velcro's on or off. So if you prefer neoprene one part of the year, fleece the other part of the year, or maybe you want a black fleece for the barn and a white one for shows or something, or whatever your reasons would be. It's all interchangeable, washable, and such.
That is so nice to hear. I thought I was just being like picky, or just high maintenance. I thought, it's really a neoprene kind of day, or he needs fleece today. And so that's not just being picky. That's a real need, huh? And you guys have solved that problem.
It's not just you, Alina, being a pain in the neck.
Thank you.
I could have just called you, and this would have made our job much easier. But yes, it is. It's definitely a real need. You're not alone.
Next time you have a product in development, just give me a call. I'll give you all my opinions.
All right, now before we run out of time here, there's something I want to mention to everybody, and that is that Total Saddle Fit has a rare thing. It's a 30-day, 110% money-back guarantee. So you really do stand behind your products, and the 110%, I assume, was to help cover shipping. So that's just an incredible thing that you don't see anywhere. Although I doubt, from all the girths that I know that we've helped you sell with all of our listeners, I doubt you get many back. So, but it is nice to know that it's there if you just absolutely hate it, right?
Totally. It's just our way of saying we stand behind this. This thing is for real, and if you don't like it, we'll help you make a little bit of money for testing it out.
Very good. Where can they find it, and where can they buy it?
You can find everything we offer at TotalSaddleFit.com. TotalSaddleFit.com. We're on Facebook at Total Saddle Fit, Twitter at Total Saddle Fit, and anything from the website you can contact via email, phone, and our phone number there as well.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Well, that's it for today's show. You can find Helena at...
You can find me at sparkleandboom.com for all of your graphic design, creative marketing, and website needs. That's sparkleandboom.com.
And I can justify that she is good. She's been doing most of the logos and artwork now for the Radiothon coming up on November 30th. You'll be looking for us live for 12 hours. Lena and Jamie and all. I counted. There's going to be 20 hosts from the Horse Radio Network involved.
That's awesome.
So Dr. Wendy and I are going to be here all day. Jen is going to be here because she's going to be handcuffed to her desk, and she doesn't like that idea, but she is. She keeps saying 20 hosts, one producer, 20 hosts, one producer. I keep telling her it's job security.
Job security.
She doesn't want to hear that, by the way.
Just go buy her some new piece of tack. She'll like that.
We're trying to get her some help for that day because nobody can sit for 12 hours. And we're expecting a lot of calls that day. We want our listeners to be involved. We'll be announcing more about that next week because we would like to get some voicemails from you. And we'd also like you to be calling in that day. And, we would love to hear from you as we get closer to the holidays. That'll be right after Thanksgiving on Cyber Monday. Why don't you do the rest there? I'm running out of voice here with my cold.
Oh, you poor baby. Okay. Well, 3, we'll do the show wrap up. 2, 1. You can get the Horse Radio Network app for iOS or Android. Just search Horse Radio Network in your app store. It is free and super easy to use. Don't forget to log on next Friday if you listen to the Horse Radio Network from your desktop. Stable Scoop is every Friday we air. Who knows what we're going to talk about, but it's always something great. If you want more details about today's episode, definitely log on to stablescoop.com. We always put links, photos, and more information about the guests that we have on. And of course, if they have any products that they're talking about, you can find the products by visiting our website. We do love your feedback. We love our fans. We love our auditors. We love our listeners. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Just find us at Stable Scoop. And of course, we tweet. Our Twitter handle is Horse Radio. Many, many thanks to our sponsors today. We have horselovers.com and Sparkle and Boom, and of course, Fecal Matters. Geez, that's a lot. Make sure you visit all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network, and you can find a list of them at horseradionetwork.com. Can I be done now?
Yep, that's it for this week.
That's a lot. There will be more next week. Until then, happy scooping.